Welcome to the Young Granny Show. I'm your host, Brittany. We're skipping the midlife crisis and diving straight into the cozy world of all things Young Granny. I will highlight artists and creators who share their passion for slow living, creativity, and the art of a handmade life. So grab your yarn, a cup of tea, and let's get started. Welcome, Kelsey, to today's episode. I'm super excited to have you on today. You are our first painter.
Oh, great. Thank
Yes.
you so much for having me.
I'm very excited. Your
I'm so
artwork
honored.
is super unique, and I know nothing about painting, and I'm really
Oh,
intrigued and exciting to hear all
oh,
about
yay.
you. Yeah.
Well, I know nothing about
So
crocheting either, so
yes.
I need anyway. Okay.
Um, Tell us, what do you have in your comfort cup or cups today?
So I normally have my oat milk matcha first thing every morning with some honey. I already chugged mine this morning, and then I always have a water with me. I don't know if they see video when we do
Yeah.
this. I don't know. I want to show you. Okay. Um, but yeah, you're in the South. I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina, so it's still very hot here. So you pretty much never go anywhere without at least one vessel for water. So
Yeah.
I always have water with me.
Yes, I'm in Texas, and it is the
Oh, so you
same
know.
here. I do know.
Yeah.
We go, and don't forget those minerals and electrolytes.
Yes, liquid IV for the
Yeah. I know everybody has their preferred. I'm an Element salt packet
Oh,
user.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll
Um,
have to try it. I'm gonna write that down. Okay, try
yeah,
that.
it's LMNT. Um, I've tried quite a few other salt packet electrolyte things, and um the taste, I just can't
Yeah.
with most of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So I know, and they all have their secret formulas and
Yeah.
different ratios for everything. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yes. Okay, so you are a painter, but I know you do a lot of other stuff. And you have not dabbled. You were a nurse.
You can say dabbled.
Dabbled.
I would.
You were a nurse, and then you over the last couple of years, I think, switched to being full-time artist.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start? There's so much to dive into.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Have you always painted, or is that something that you came into later?
Um, so when I was a kid, I just really gravitated towards making art. Like that was something that I feel like there are the things that our parents try to get us to do as a kid, like put us in classes or certain sports, but like art was always something that I was really interested in doing on my own, and that I was just really invested in on my own. And I would like go up to the playroom with like my watercolors and pencils, and I would like look at um anatomical books for artists. So I would just try to like copy a lot of like these really formal drawing books and just trying to like get a feel for like drawing the human figure. I was just really interested in that to begin with. So just as time went on, I never really had a outlet, especially through like high school or anything, except for like one art class I did my senior year that really I was able to like explore and like really grow my love of
Yeah.
painting. But like I always was like interested in it, but I never really got into painting and being more invested in it until college. And then I always planned to go into medicine. First I was like, I'll be a doctor or maybe a PA. And then I just realized I didn't like science classes as much, obviously, and I love my art classes. So, by the time that I graduated, I actually had enough science classes to have a biology minor, but then I had an art major. And then I was like, well, I'll just go to nursing school at this point and I'll just do art on the side. And I don't know, it's just funny how life works out because, I got into nursing school, but then I was really stressed out by that. So I just started painting a lot more, and it just kind of like grew and grew and grew. And a business kind of grew out of it unintentionally. Um, so I would literally go to work as a nurse, then I'd come home and paint like every day. And it was like really time consuming, but it was the only way I felt like I could really get the stress of the day out. Um, so eventually I just was like, I think I just want to try art full time and just take a leap for a minute and, like just see how it goes. And that was about 4 years ago. So I've just been doing art full time for about 4 years.
That's amazing.
Sorry, that was a lot of rambling, but
No, it wasn't. No, that was
okay,
fantastic.
good.
What kind of nursing were you doing?
So I started off in the operating room and then I moved home back to Wilmington and I did skin surgery, which was like removing skin cancer. And then that was in office. So people were like awake and it was just like local anesthetic, like lidocaine and stuff. So the operating room definitely made it transitioning into that job a lot easier because the operating room was way more tense.
Yeah,
Anyway, so switching to that wasn't uh, super difficult and it was still really interesting. It was just like in a different office setting. And
yeah,
then the hours in that were just a little um, all over the place. So I just wanted something a little more structured, I guess, just
yeah,
knowing like when I was gonna go home and like I was gonna be home at a certain time and I didn't have to worry about staying late. So then I did wound care at another place in town, outpatient facility near the hospital. And that was also very interesting, but that really challenged me because I had never dealt with anything in wound care before, but I still
yeah,
really liked the visual of, like, seeing that sounds kinda
yeah,
gross probably to a lot of people, but I've always really liked seeing, like, what other people consider gross, like, I just find it really interesting, so,
yeah,
I did wound care for I think I was in wound care the longest out of the other jobs that I left, and then I kinda just got to a point where I was like, I'm still not really happy, I'm still kinda like I like all the places that I worked at were great, like, especially my last job. I love my coworkers, my, manager was great, like, the doctors I worked with were great. It was just, like I just personally was just struggling finding, like, my happy place, and I just wanted to try something different,
yeah,
and I love making art, and I knew that, for sure, so I just yeah, took a leap.
yeah. Well, there's such a difference in doing a job that you like versus doing something that like feeds your soul, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, see, it sounded like you liked your job, but it
Yeah, I
wasn't
definitely
feeding your soul.
yeah, and I had just spent, like, probably my entire life sort of thinking I was gonna do something in medicine, um, kind of, like, getting ready for that and thinking, like, once I get into medicine, once I get my job, once I, like, you know, get out of school, whatever schooling that was, like, I thought I'd be in this, like, happy place, I have my life figured out, and it just, like, wasn't. It was a big kinda slap in the face, like, learning lesson as an adult, like, you just have to sort of, take things day by day and listen to really what you wanna do with your life because, sometimes things just don't work out the way that you think they
Yeah.
will.
I've had that experience myself.
Yeah,
And
uh,
for me, like it's kind of a painful realization because you have to you think about it, right? And then you have that
mhm.
realization and then you're left with, well, now what? And there's
Yeah,
this
like,
void
now
while you
what?
still have to continue doing what you
Yeah,
were doing.
mhm.
So how was that process for you? You came to this realization and then it probably I'm guessing took you a little while to make the decision to go
Mhm,
full-time artist, and then it
mhm.
probably took you a little while after that to, like, do it. So how was that process and
Yeah.
that transition for you?
Um, so obviously I put in like, I think it was a 30-day notice at work, and that was I still remember like how scared I was to tell my manager because I was just like again, it was like one of those things that was just for me. Like nobody was well, my now husband and like my family were like, especially my now husband, he was like, I believe in you. I really think, you are capable of this. And it's funny because we were actually separated at the time. Like we had broken up, and I was thinking of leaving my job, and actually like drove across the country, like with my mom. I was just like needing a change, like needing just to do something, like get out of my comfort zone. So of course my boyfriend, I broke up, left a job, went across country, just all the things at once is like hectic.
Yeah.
Um, but then later we came back together and we got married, obviously. We're married now. But at the time it was sort of a lonely thing, and it was like but also very exciting, but it was also like, wow, this is something I'm truly just doing for myself. Like no one because in medicine, as like a nurse, everyone sort of like approves of that when you tell them you're a nurse
Mhm.
or but then you tell it's just funny seeing the difference like when you say you're an artist to people versus like just seeing how I get different reactions. It's like it's just funny. I have to just laugh about it because people like nothing, no reactions other than like some few people. Like most people's reactions are just like, they're not always like positive when you tell people
Yeah.
you're an artist, or they don't really get it, or like, and it's hard. It's really hard having your own business. And most of the time I'm like by myself, as a nurse, it was nice because I was like around people. I had someone telling me what to do. My days were structured. Now I have to structure my own days, like really manage myself, be strict with myself, and do a lot of self promotion, do a lot of self marketing, really try to put myself out there, which is like
Yeah.
not easy thing. Like I am such an introvert. I can be super shy. Like all of that is really hard for me.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really challenging, and it's not but it's a good challenge, and I love painting. So I'm you take the good or the bad. But um when I left, sorry, going back to your original question, I was already painting so much like after work that not having to work as a nurse really just freed up more time to paint. So it really wasn't in that regard, like it wasn't that crazy of a transition. It was like, oh, I just get to paint more and I have more time to paint. So that was nice. But then since then it's been like I felt like I had so much creative energy, like when I first left nursing. But then as the years go on, you kind of have to figure out ways to like keep yourself inspired and keep yourself motivated and how to like grow your business. So it's just always changing and evolving. And I'm always feel like I'm learning something new every day. So
Yeah. Yeah. So when you were nursing, do you
uh
feel like you either drew inspiration or the type of nursing that you were doing was influencing what type of art you were creating?
I don't know if they necessarily well, for my senior thesis, I actually did a lot of like anatomical portrait things, and I sort of focused on, you kind of figure out for like a year what you're going to do your senior thesis on. So mine kind of somehow evolved into the ephemerality of like the human body and how like delicate we are, like as humans, and how like, I don't know, it sounds dark, but I was like, we're all going to die one day. And so my art, like, for my thesis was, like, I used very, like, thin paper and a lot of, like, tracing paper, and I did all these, like, anatomical it was like confronting your mortality
Yeah.
in my painting. So,
Yeah.
it sounds dark, but it was, like, that was before I was even a nurse, but I think like medicine, anatomy, like art. They all like I even thought about being a medical illustrator for like a little while. But yeah, everything kind of blended together for a while. But I wouldn't say like now my artwork is like I still love doing portraits, but I'm not really doing anything that's like anatomical
Yeah.
or maybe I'll go there again one day. But um yeah, things are my artwork has like evolved and yeah, everything's just it's always evolving. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I can, I know what your artwork looks like now,
Mhm.
and it sounds like it's maybe quite a bit different. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely evolved in this time that you've allowed yourself to be a full time artist.
Hmm.
How has that process been? Kind of, I mean, you have a very, to me, from what I've been exposed to, a very distinct style in the colors
Hmm.
that you use and you know, I don't know how your
Yeah.
finished
Yeah.
pieces look. I want
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
like brush strokes, but I'm not sure if that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. No.
It
Yeah.
feels very
Yeah.
distinct for me. Um,
Oh wow.
like
Thanks.
I'd be able to be like that either that is or that reminds me
Yeah.
of Kelsey. Like
Oh,
I'd be
thanks.
able to pick that out. Um,
Yeah, funny.
and so it feels like you've really found for now,
Yeah.
as you evolve and
Right,
grow, that
right.
may change again, but it feels like you've found a very true to you like niche for where your life is right now. How has that what was that like finding that creative process for you over years, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I felt like last year I went through a lot of experimentation with like watercolors and different papers and different subjects, and I was really all over the place. And I feel like this year I've been sort of finding my place again. Like I tried a lot of different stuff, saw what stuck, and now I'm sort of back where I'm like, this is what I like, this is what I enjoy, and I think part of like finding your place in your style again is just having the confidence in yourself to be like, this is my art and this is what I like to make, and it doesn't have to look like that person's or it doesn't have to be this style. Like this is what comes out of me, so I need to honor that and explore that. And I feel like that's back where I am right now is just trying to honor and explore like my most genuine work and almost kind of put my blinders on when it comes to like looking at other artists or looking at other work. Um there's another artist, her name is Sandy Hester. She's a painter and she was kind of talking about something similar where she was like she's so prolific, it's hard to imagine that someone like her would struggle with creating art, but, everyone has their struggles, I
Uh,
guess, it just goes to show. And, she was saying that she felt like she was struggling at one point because she was sort of looking elsewhere for inspiration, but she just really needed to focus on what was coming from within her. And so I was like, that is just like that's really hard to do, and it's like I don't always feel like I have the confidence to do that, but I've been really trying to do that more. So, and I feel like I've been creating a lot of work that I like and that I feel connected to, and it's not just like, oh, I hope someone buys this, which I mean, you always like hope your artwork connects with somebody else, but
yeah.
it's also feels more like lately, like, wow, I am enjoying the process. I'm having fun exploring these colors. I'm like really intrigued by like how this turned out, and it's not all about connecting with the viewers as much as it
Yeah.
is just like connecting with myself more. Am I having
Yeah.
myself? Yeah, I'm just repeating myself, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. Um, what you mentioned you had tried some other things in experimenting. What were those things? Was it different colors? Was it different
Yeah, just
like you
like
do a
all the
lot of
different.
like portrait and like items. that
Yeah,
inspire
like
you, or
still
like,
lifes or
yeah,
like
still life, thank you.
fruit or shells or yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Were you painting
I know what you
other
mean.
Yeah, thank you. Were you painting other things using different colors, different techniques?
Mhm.
What were some what was, like, something that you tried and just did not go as planned?
Oh, uh, I I played a lot with watercolors last year and gouache, which actually I did a ton of gouache. Like that was almost what I really started to like when I really was getting into painting full time. I was mostly using gouache and a mix of gouache and acrylic. Now I mostly only use acrylic and but actually I'm starting to play with gouache a little bit more. So again, all over the place, always evolving and exploring. But um uh so I did a lot of like florals on paper, like watercolor florals or um what else did I try? I experimented with raw canvas, which is just like, if you go to an art store, you're mostly find canvas that's been like prepped with a lot of gesso so that like when you put your paint on the canvas, it won't immediately soak into it. Like you have
Sure.
like a surface to really like build paint on. So raw canvas is just like unprepped canvas. So if you put paint on it, it will soak into the canvas. Um, and there's, I don't know if you've heard of like Helen Frankenthaler, but she did like, she's no longer alive, but she did these, she was like a, I don't, I'm not going to even try to explain like the era and like exactly what she did because I just don't want to butcher it. But she's a very famous female artist who did these giant like silk staining paintings where she like used raw canvas and anyway, so I was kind of like experimenting with her technique and that was really hard for me because I think I like structure a little bit more with my paintings and raw canvas just felt really hard to like use.
Yeah.
And I did actually sell like some paintings that I did on raw canvas, which was exciting and like still like sold some paintings on watercolor paintings. So you never know what will connect with people and it never hurts to like try new things and experiment because you just don't know what will stick or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But I will say that I've kind of gone back to like mostly acrylic and painting on this paper that I've always loved and also on wood panel. That's where I am now. But I also last thing I'll say,
Yeah.
like, even though mostly painting on watercolor why my brain keeps saying that. Mostly painting with watercolor and gouache, like, didn't really stick with me. I have really loved, creating these mini paintings. I don't know if you've seen those, but they're really simple, and I just use, like, a really small little piece of paper, and I use watercolor gouache for those, and I'll include those with original paintings or, I've even sold a few like on my Instagram stories, just like, I love these minis, if you're, and some people really like those. And I
Yeah.
genuinely like creating those just because they're small and I don't have to like, put a ton of effort into them and they're just kind of like fun and I can paint them sort of without overthinking. So if
Yeah.
I hadn't been playing around with watercolors and gouache so much last year, I don't think I would have figured that out. So, anyways,
That's
a
fun.
long ramble.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure the minis, people see your artwork and you create a lot of like large pieces that people
Yeah.
may not have the space for or the funds for. And so these
Yeah.
mini pieces are a piece that they can get.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
That's fun.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Thanks.
So tell me, in the artwork that you do create now,
Yeah.
what does like what does a day in the life look like for you? I think a lot of you
Mhm.
mentioned, going from nursing to full-time painter.
Mhm.
It's a transition because, you have a structured work
Mhm.
day or night,
Mhm.
depending on your
Mhm.
shift,
Right.
for
Yeah.
nursing. And then all of a sudden you have your schedule is in your hands.
Mhm.
It's all you.
Yeah.
What is it now that you've been doing this and you're a seasoned artist? for a couple years. What does a day or maybe even a week look like for you?
Um, so I do find that planning out my schedule a little bit has been useful. I did make a calendar basically with a studio manager I found online. And it was just so nice to kind of have somebody tell me what to do or like what I could focus on.
Yeah,
And we both worked together on it. So it wasn't like just her, it was like us figuring out what worked for me. So, but that was more like the bigger picture of like a month by month basis. But like on a more daily or weekly basis, so like on Sunday, I'll typically plan out what days I want to work out on because that is super important for me to get out of the house
yeah,
because like I think last year like when I was sort of in a rut like I wasn't getting out of the house enough either. Um so that's been really important for me is to figure out ways like other than just focusing on art, like what else can I do to focus on my well-being?
yeah.
Um so what days I'm going to go to the gym and then I also try to walk because there's a park near our house. I try to walk daily. It doesn't always happen. But then yeah, on the days I'm not at the gym, I try to walk. And then I also started volunteering at an animal shelter.
Oh,
So then
fun.
I try to plan out which days I'm going to go to the animal shelter.
Yeah,
Um, so those are, aside from painting, those are the other things I really try to make sure I get done in a week because I know if I'm just focusing on art and I'm only in the house for like a week painting, like I will go crazy. So,
yeah,
um, so those are very important. And then coming back to painting, I do try to get started. Like if I don't have photography to do, if I don't have anything on my website, if there are no emails, or shipping or packaging, then I will try to get in the studio by 10 a.m. or so. And then take a little lunch break in there and then keep painting throughout the afternoon. And then usually I'll just paint till my husband gets home from work, which is usually around 5 p.m. And then sometimes I'll go back into the studio if I have a lot to do. But we have three pets, so um I thought maybe one would be in the background. Normally their heads are I don't know if you can see
no,
Graham sleeping
oh,
over there on the couch,
yeah,
but
oh,
um so I'll like take a lot of breaks with them, let them out during the day, obviously. And but yeah, I really have tried to focus on painting and not being distracted. So sometimes I'll like put my phone inside and then go out to my studio because if it's there, I'm like, oh, I want to check
yeah,
it. Um, but yeah, I try to paint as much as I can without distraction. That's like the key, like avoiding distraction.
mhm,
And then I have a studio assistant that is so helpful. And, obviously I could do all this stuff on my own, but it just takes me forever to like package stuff, wire stuff. And she's good at all of those things. So I'm so lucky to have somebody to help me with those kinds of things. Because then, like I mentioned earlier, there's if I'm not just painting or if I'm prepping for like a collection release or like a shop update, or I'm trying to like get things out the door to ship. Those take up a lot of time.
yeah,
Um, what else is involved? Like lately, I've been trying to figure out how to apply to some galleries. So I've been trying to
yeah,
like get that organized. Um, let's see. Yeah, this week. Let's see, what am I going to do today? This morning. This morning, I answered a bunch of emails. I was on my computer. I set up an email for my subscribers, which I'm trying to get better at. And I'm going to drop off some paintings to a local collector after this. So I have to go out and do that. And then I was going to go on a walk while I'm out. And then I'm hoping I'll come back after that and be able to paint some until the end of the day. So
yeah,
kind of all over the place today, but most days, if I can get in the studio by 10 and then be done like late afternoon, that's like my favorite day. I just get to paint all
yeah.
day.
That's awesome. it must be really difficult sometimes. I'm really intrigued by this idea of a studio manager. I've never heard of that.
Mhm.
So what do they do?
So the woman that I met with, we just did like a one-time session
Yeah.
but if I had her like full time, I think she would help me with um probably show applications, trying to get in the galleries. She'd help me plan for my collection releases. She'd probably like help with emails. What else? I mean, basically everything aside from painting,
Yeah.
which is she probably helped me with getting photographers or getting like my art photographed and edited and put on my website. Like website stuff takes me forever. Like I'm so bad at
Yeah.
technology. Um, but my assistant, I wouldn't say she's like a manager in the way that she helps me plan stuff. I'm more just like, "Can you help me with this and help me with that?" And she just does like an amazing job. But but I'd say like a manager would be more in control of like telling me what to do and sort of like, yeah, like managing me like in what I'm
Yeah.
doing instead of me trying to figure everything out sort of for myself and like what's my next move and next goal and like um yeah, like all the little details.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's interesting.
yeah.
I had never thought of hiring somebody to help you kind of that knows about your world to help you kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
structure things. That's really I'm intrigued by that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So you mentioned you've been applying to galleries. As long as I've followed you, I've seen that you do a lot of traveling. You did a bunch of international travel, and you correct me if I'm wrong. You had some showings, features while you were overseas. So tell us what you were up to.
So I studied at an artist residency in I'm gonna not pronounce this right, but it's called Orquevaux, France. And I went with my friend who's also an artist. She's local here and she actually encouraged me to go. Her name's Sarah. And we both went together and we first traveled in France with our husbands the first 2 weeks of May. And then the last 2 weeks of May, just us 2 went to this, like, chateau for the artist residency with maybe, like, 22 or 23 other artists there. It might have been 25 of us total. And it was just, like, amazing.
Yeah.
And we get fed there and because it's, like, a tiny town, so there's really nowhere unless you went to, like, a neighboring town, which is, like, 40 minutes away and got your own groceries or something, there's, like, nowhere for you to really, like, buy food or anything like in the actual town. So they like take care of you like 100%, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks and like and you never went hungry. Like the food was amazing. That was just really nice having somebody cook for you and
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about literally anything except for like doing your laundry. Everything else is like taken care of in regards to like they would tidy our rooms that we would stay in. They cook for us. They like structure our days. Yeah, it was awesome. And it kind of taught me a little bit about like trying to avoid more distraction and like
Yeah. I bet.
trying to structure my days better.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was one little gallery showing that they picked one painting from every artist who was there for that session. And so there was like a little gallery opening. So one of my paintings is still over there in their little gallery
Yeah.
in Orquevaux. And that was the show we had there. And then when Sarah and I got back, we did our own two-person show with the artwork that we created over there at a little like French bistro in town. And that was amazing and fun. And a lot of people came out for that one, which was like, I don't know, I just felt really excited. Like, normally I don't really like doing shows or markets or like talking to people about my work, but
Yeah.
like I was genuinely excited to like show my work from that residency just because I really felt like I connected with with my work there, and
Yeah.
I was just really excited about it. So that was a really cool show, and yeah, so I think that kind of taught me too that it's really important to get outside of social media and get outside of like just being online and try to like have people see your work in person. And so that's kind of encouraged me to apply to maybe like some more galleries and some more shows and just trying to like interact with people more in person because ultimately like the more people that you get on or more people that get their eyes on your work, the better, however that
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah. That's
yeah, I don't know if that
awesome.
was your original question. I just
I
didn't
don't remember, but
sorry, I'm
I
a
loved what
rambler.
you said. Um, you mentioned that you really connected with the artwork that you did in that
Mhm,
residency.
mhm.
What what kinds of was anything different than, that you painted while you were there? Was it different than what you had been doing? Was it just kind of the whole experience of it? What made you connect differently?
Um, so there wasn't really any distraction. That was amazing. I didn't really have to I don't say like worry, but when you're at home, you just have a lot of things to take care of. And
Yeah.
like, I have we don't have any kids, so we have like three animals, you have to like clean and cook and do laundry and all the house things and all the, errands. And it's just like, there's just a lot of things that can draw your attention other than painting when you're at home.
Yeah.
So when I was at this residency, it was like, I didn't have to worry about I didn't have to think about anything other than like laundry and painting. And that
Yeah.
was just like such a freedom I hadn't experienced in a while. And I also just didn't realize like how distracted I was at home. Um, so just not having that distraction really helped me feel this like freedom to explore and create. And it wasn't like I did anything differently than what I normally do. It wasn't like I created something, completely different. It was
Yeah.
just like I connected more with myself and my style and what I normally like to paint and
Yeah.
got to just have a lot of fun and have no distractions. And it was just like, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could have stayed there like all summer and just painted and like been in the French countryside. But,
Right? What a
I'm
dream.
thinking of, yeah, it was really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you came back and you mentioned you had, a showing with all
Yeah.
your stuff. That sounds really fun, and I think it probably with those people that came in person, um, because you were so connected to those
Mhm.
pieces, it probably resonated differently, as you spoke
Yeah.
about them and probably as they the energetic fields that they hold in person
Mhm.
probably felt a little different too, so that's super cool, to hear
Yeah.
that it was so well received as well, and people were
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I think it was also, like, a lot of people who might have not seen my work online or if I just been, like, on Instagram, like, there are a lot of people I think who just go to shows and they wanna see the artwork in person and they wanna
Yeah.
talk with the artist, and it's not just like, just here's something online and, like, not really connecting with the person. I wish
Yeah.
I have connected with a lot of people through online, but it's just like, I just mean that it's, like, different when someone gets to see the artwork in person and talk to you in person before they buy it,
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely imagine that, like my impression of seeing something online and how I would connect with it online. And
Mhm,
then, you fill in a story for yourself about
mhm.
what the artist might be like or how you connect
Yeah,
with that piece and what that piece means to you or the style, right?
yeah,
In general. Versus it's always different when you meet somebody in person. Um, it's always different because then, you have all of this input in that
Mhm.
gets rid of the stories that you might have created in your head about
Mhm.
them or their process, or
Yeah.
all those pieces are filled in, and it's usually quite different than
Mhm.
what you expected, hopefully for
Yeah.
the better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it becomes a lot more meaningful too, I think, when you have the ability to connect with the artist and experience them. Um, you
Yeah.
connect with their output, their art, a lot differently than you would um,
Yeah.
online.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is very cool.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you that it sounds like that experience um has inspired you to kind of branch out more. You've got a large online presence, and looks like you're trying to expand now into more
Yeah.
galleries and stuff.
Yeah. And I kind of like asked myself, like as I get older, like what kind of artist do I want to be? And I think I would just like to be more connected in person with people all over the country, hopefully,
Yeah,
um and just get my artwork in front of as many eyes as possible, and just to have that confidence in myself that I can promote, like people can maybe go to a gallery and see my artwork, and that, or like I can talk to somebody in person about my artwork. And yeah, I would just like to get from behind the wall of social media and being online and out into the real world a little bit more. And that's kind of
yeah,
where I see myself for the future,
yeah.
hopefully.
I love that. I love that process of kind of evaluating. I am an artist. What do I want that to look like? What do I want
Hmm.
to? How do I want to experience that? How do I want people to experience me and my art?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I hadn't heard anybody speak about it like that before, and I love that. I think that's important.
Thanks.
Um, but I mean, that that takes a lot of confidence, like you mentioned,
Yeah,
to be able to
it's not
do. So I'm
easy.
sure, I think, people always ask about imposter syndrome, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think there's a single person who doesn't have
Mhm.
imposter syndrome. I think it's a
Yeah,
universal experience.
yeah,
I really do.
yeah.
So how has that manifested for you? What are some things that you either currently have or have had? And if it's this is a layered question, sorry. If it's I have had imposter syndrome,
Mhm,
and I experienced something and I moved through it, how did that happen
mhm.
for you?
Um, I think, like, just realizing that everybody feels that way, and just, like, thinking about all the different artists who, like, have just painted the craziest stuff and have become, like, when we went to France, we went to the Musée de or not that one, it wasn't the Orsay Museum, I think it was, no, it was the Orsay Museum, sorry.
It's okay.
Um, yeah, it was the Orsay Museum, and all of, like, the plaques next to a lot of these, like, super famous artists and paintings, like, the plaques describing, and normally I don't read the plaques because 'cause I'm just like, "I just wanna see the art."
Yeah.
But, like, the more I read, like, some of the stories behind the paintings, and just, like, how ill-received some of the paintings were at first, or how a lot of people didn't take that artist seriously, or how that artist even felt, like, not good enough, or they're like, "What's the point of" like, there's just one artist that we saw an exhibit of, and he was around the same time as, like, Monet, I think, and he was quoted saying, like, "What's the point of painting when I'm just gonna be compared to, like, Monet or some of these other super famous artists?" And that just kind of, like, struck a chord. It's like, even if you're not gonna be the most famous, artist in the world, like, hopefully that's not I think a lot of these painters, we just paint because we feel like we have to and because it's good for us, and, like, that's kind of what I always go back to, like, I paint because it's good for me and because I love doing it and it makes me happy, and I just have to remember that, and not everything is about, like, trying to be marketable and trying to sell and trying to have somebody else like your work. Like, the point of me doing this was because I love to do it and I want to explore and, like, create work that I'm excited about. And so I try to shift the focus from, like, the perception that other people might have of my work to the perception of the process I have, like, or my own perception of myself, my artwork that I'm making, and my process, and having that be the focus. And yeah, so I think that's kind of how I try to stay away from comparing myself too much to other people, because it's just kind of an icky feeling when you, like, are comparing yourself to everyone else, or you just,
Yeah.
like, feel like you're trying to make work for other people, and you kinda get away from making work for yourself, and, like, ultimately, the work that you're most excited about and the work that is, like, your most authentic work that comes from deep within you is the work that's probably going to connect most with other people, and, like, um, I don't know if you've read The Creative Act by Mark Rubin.
I haven't
I think
yet.
that's his name, Mark Rubin.
It is on my to read list.
Yeah. It's really I actually listened to it, I listened to the audiobook, and he was just saying that, like, ultimately, the best work that you will create is the work that you, like, create most authentically, like, for yourself. And that's, yeah, so basically just saying what I was already saying, like,
Yeah.
you just have to show up for yourself first.
Yeah. I I think that needs to be shouted from the rooftops, especially as artists of all mediums take on social media and and you know, the like communities online are formed
Yeah.
together. I'll speak from crochet because that's what I do. That's what I know. I notice,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people coming into crochet and there's some close knit communities on Instagram right now. Um, and we all like the burnout happens so quickly.
Mhm.
And I notice it's because we're all trying to create for other people.
Mhm.
We're trying the trends that are happening because that's popular and it'll help you get seen,
Mhm.
supposedly.
Mhm.
And then, and then you kind of lose yourself and your purpose and your why
Mhm.
and the joy in it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, and then, and then you question everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and so that
I've been
I
there.
think it needs to be, like I said, shouted from the rooftops. Repeat what you said because I think if you are doing it for yourself, the people that will resonate with will find you,
Yeah.
and and you'll have fulfilled what you needed to for yourself, which
Yeah.
is the most important. It's the most important thing, I think, especially as a
Yeah.
creative person, whatever your medium
Mhm.
is. Um,
Yeah.
I you mentioned as a child, and I think that will resonate a lot with a lot of listeners as well. Is
Yeah.
you always found yourself drawing and painting, and that's what you always gravitated to. And now you, as an adult, following through with your inner child's
Yeah.
gravity and,
Yeah.
pulling that back in and really connecting with that the highest part of your being,
Yeah.
is when you're a child, I think. And,
Yeah.
the purest
Yeah.
the purest version of you is you as a child and what you were interested in and what you gravitated to. I think, you know, as
Yeah.
adults, we often go back to those things because
Yeah.
that's who you are at your core. And if you um, allow yourself to stay connected to that,
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
be so fulfilled in your being, and that's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. And obviously, like, as an artist, we want to sell. We want to become well known. Um, there's no doubt about that. And
Yeah,
I definitely am not like being naive when I say, like,
yeah,
like, oh, we don't need to make any
right.
money. We can just paint like, obviously, like, we do want to make money. We do want to be successful. Like,
Yeah,
artists are like, they own their own businesses. They're really hard workers. Like, they're trying
yeah,
to just make a living doing something that they love, and so it just is a lot of hard work, and I would be lying if I said that, like, the struggle that, I was just talking about of, like, making artwork for yourself versus for other people, that's something I almost grapple with, like, daily, like, in the mornings. That's almost like why I sketch every morning because it's like, I'm just doing this for me, no one's gonna see this, or maybe I'll share it, but, like, this is purely just for me. Is not I'm not trying to sell this, I'm not trying to, like, post this and go viral. Like, it's
yeah,
just for me to have fun, and that's how I try to start my days, with that mindset and with that practice. It's definitely not easy, but it's, nothing in life that's worthwhile is usually easy.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I think, yeah, and probably your many little paintings that you
mhm.
sell and include that probably gives
Yeah.
you a little bit of that freedom too,
Oh,
along
yeah.
with being able to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm like, if no one likes it, I'll just, or if these don't sell, like, because sometimes I'll put them on my stories for sale. I'm like, well, if it doesn't sell, I'll just include it. And when someone buys an original, and I'll just write
yeah,
like a little thank you note on the back. So it's just like no pressure, just for fun. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyways.
I think that's a great idea, and I mean, you're right, like, and that's earlier you were mentioning when, now when you tell people that you're an artist, you get a different reaction than you did when you were a nurse, and,
Yeah.
I think the stereotype of the starving artist and, there's
Hmm.
so many stories that people have in their mind about what it means to be an artist, especially if, they're not tapped into their creative side, which a lot of people
Hmm.
aren't. Um,
Yeah.
they have this story of what it means to be an artist.
Yeah.
And it
Exactly.
usually aligns to being a starving artist. And
Yeah. Or like you're
um,
lazy, or just painting
yeah,
little pictures, and like you're just lottie dying, and,
yeah,
I don't think a lot of people realize, like, how hard it is,
yeah.
and, um, yeah.
And you've mentioned all of them. There's so many different facets to what you have to balance as an artist. Social
Mhm,
media, you're taking pictures of your own work,
mhm,
and then editing it, I'm sure.
mhm.
So you've had to learn, and then you have your website and you have payment processing and taxes and bills
Taxes,
and
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um, there's so many different things that you have to balance and do
yeah,
aside from just painting.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
And learn, right? You had to learn all about your website. You've
Yeah.
gotta learn
I had
the
somebody help me
taxes.
with that website. No, and I but I
Yeah,
yes, there was no, I mean, I think some people do it, but there is no way that I was gonna be able to build a website on my own. So I had
yeah,
somebody help me with that, and I had like, all these things I've gotten so much help with. So I've not been able to do any of this, like, by myself, and I'm constantly asking for help. Like, um, yeah, it's a huge learning curve, like, every day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huge learning curve. And there's a lot to learn and, you know, best practices to learn, like
Yeah.
taking pictures
Open
and
yourself to learn. Yeah.
yes. Yep, yep. There's a lot that goes into being an artist and having your own business that a lot of people have no idea about.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some things that you have coming up that you are excited, nervous for? What do you have going on?
Um, I'm nervous to apply to galleries because I don't know if I'll be accepted. But that's okay. You just keep trying and keep putting yourself out there. Um, I what else? I've been really just trying to like get myself in the studio every day, and just kind of seeing what comes out. Um, so I've been really excited about that, just like getting in the studio daily and just trying to focus on connecting with my artwork more and not focusing on marketing and social media. And I feel like that's given me a little bit new life to my work just because I'm not so distracted.
Yeah.
Um, Other things that I have coming up, gosh, I feel like there's things I'm forgetting about. Um, I might have my artwork on another little book cover, for like a smaller publication company that is, I'll have more information. I don't want to botch what it's about, but
Yeah.
I'll be able to share more information about that soon. And what else? I was going to apply to a show that if I get into it, it would take place later this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just like little things that I still have to apply to. Um, Hopefully we'll see what happens. But right now I'm just kind of excited about painting and connecting to my work. I have a commission that I'm working on now that I'm excited about. And I'm going to be doing some more traveling with my family in January, which I'm excited to see what inspiration that might bring. Um, but yeah,
Wow. My
just
s
all over the
my
place.
son's like
Oh,
"I'm hungry, I'm hungry."
oh,
I'm like, "Hold on, buddy."
oh. I'm surprised my dogs have not barked once. Like, I'm
I know,
shocked. Like, I feel like they would have been like the whole
I
time.
know.
So no,
It's pretty
it's okay.
funny. There's some times where I guess their animal will bark their dog will bark or something, and my
Yeah.
dog is sitting on the bed right there, and she'll
Oh,
bark back, and then they're so
yeah.
confused, like, "Who's
Yeah.
barking?"
You're
Yeah,
like, what?
that's so funny. So you were talking about January, you've got some traveling, with your
hmm
family
hmm
and how that you're excited to see if that'll,
Yeah.
influence you or
Yeah.
inspire
Maybe it
you
won't
in
at
ways.
all, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah,
It's always a we'll see what happens. That's
yeah,
kind of the motto. So we'll see what
yeah.
happens.
That's
Mhm.
exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I always love to hear from artists. What has been a piece that you've created or a couple,
Mhm.
that are most meaningful to you or that really stick with you for whatever
Mhm.
reason?
Mm, I would say that like I have one painting in my house that I took off my website because I didn't want to sell it because
Yeah.
it was a painting that my husband and I when we got married, we got married in Italy and then we honeymooned like going around
Oh,
Italy. So
fun.
like
Yeah.
one of the most amazing dinners that we had, we were overlooking the Tuscan countryside and it like I took a picture and I just had like the most beautiful memory with it and I painted it and that felt really special to me and so that I still have to get it framed and put up, but that's probably one of the most I don't know, when paintings like hold a memory
Yeah.
or just like when you traveled somewhere and you paint it like I don't know, those I find really meaningful. But also sometimes when I paint something that I just love because I felt really free while doing it and I wasn't overthinking it. And I genuinely enjoyed the process. Those are also, like, super meaningful to me too, because it's just when I get to, like the outcome is sort of my most authentic self. That feels really good. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. In a minute, buddy. Thank you.
How old is your son?
He is 5.
Aw.
Yeah.
Aw.
He's 5.
Yeah. My sister just had a baby, and she's a little over 1, and she's just grown up
Oh,
so fast,
yeah.
and she's so sweet, and I love her so much.
Yeah.
My niece,
Oh,
yeah.
that's fun. 1 is a fun age.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Um, what, um what has been some impactful feedback that you've
Mhm.
gotten?
Um, Cultural feedback. Um, I wouldn't know if this is necessarily like feedback from my own work, but there was one artist that his name's Stanley, if I'm again, I might butcher his name, Stanley Whitney or Whitley. And he did this interview where kind of just recently become really famous with his artwork, but he's been creating like forever. And he was just talking about how it felt to become like a more famous and well-known artist like later in life. And he said like just one quote that sticks out to me was like even when he wasn't being that or he wasn't getting a lot of success or like a lot of people weren't really connecting with his art or he wasn't well, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he just kept creating because he said like the most important thing to him, like he loved making work so much that it was just so important for him to keep making art and that was how important art was to him. Like
Mm.
even when he wasn't getting famous or making a ton of money, he just kept doing it because he loved it so much. And I just try to keep that in mind, like even if like my why and why I do it, and even if someone doesn't buy a certain painting or something isn't as successful as I want it to be, like, why am I doing it? It's because
Yeah.
I love to create. That's why hopefully, like, most I mean, hopefully, like, probably most people are creating if they're an artist, like, because they love to do it and just
Yeah.
keeping that in mind that, you're doing it because you love to do it and that it's important to you. Um, I think that's probably, like, the most indirect feedback that I got
Yeah.
got on my work or
Yeah.
that I keep in mind for creating.
Yeah. And that probably helps you when you have a moment of doubt or
Oh, yeah.
like a slump.
Daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, daily
Yeah.
moments of
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we keep going back to basically that same thought. And I think it's so important for people to kind of ground themselves in
Mhm,
that. Um
mhm,
and it as a creative person, as an artist, like the way that we measure success can be
mhm,
different for all of us too.
mhm.
Obviously,
Yeah,
we need to eat, we need to pay our
yeah,
bills,
yeah,
and have the lifestyle that we are comfortable with.
yeah,
Um, and you do what you need to do to fulfill all of that. But
yeah.
you know, some especially with social media, this idea of success has been so inflated, I think.
Mhm.
We all
Yeah,
have
like
these like
getting
yeah,
tons
super
of views is
unrealistic.
success or like
Yeah.
yeah, or like going viral is I don't know, it's like that's
Yeah.
not like a
No, and I mean even piece by piece, um the like notion of success could be different too.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
what makes each piece successful could be different. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
And how, like the painting that you did from your honeymoon, like that is successful because you were able to translate that feeling
Yeah,
into
yeah,
paint and
mhm.
you were successful there, so successful that you need to keep it for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah,
Versus,
yeah, exactly.
a piece that has gone viral and is so successful in that way. Like
Yeah.
success in different ways is
Oh,
important.
yeah. And just because a painting gets a ton of I've had, like, this where I've had a painting not get a lot of success on social media, and it sells, and I've had the complete opposite where it gets a ton of likes and does not sell. So it's like
Yeah,
it's all over the place. So,
it's so confusing.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Last question. What is something that what's a dream that you have? Something that
Mhm.
you is like a really lofty hope of yours.
Like, with art or just with life or
You decide. You decide how
Um,
personal you want to get.
um, I was asked by some travel companies if I wanted to lead like an artist travel group. Like, when artists do those like, come paint with me in this place. And I've gotten those before and I just haven't had like the confidence to really do it. And I don't know if I even have the confidence now to do it, but I think in the future I'd really love to like be able to go travel somewhere, lead a group, or just like um yeah, just be able to like do something I love and travel and have the confidence to like lead a group. I think one day that would be amazing. Or just even have like a gallery show one day. Just like things to get me out of my comfort zone that and just have confidence in myself. I would just I probably could go, deeper if we had if we really wanted to, but I think those are the kind of things that I think about I'm thinking about now that like for way in the future, like one day, like it would be cool to do these things.
Yeah. Well, hearing you speak about them, I feel like they're not going to be so far in the future. I
We'll
feel
see.
like they're going to get here sooner than you think.
We'll see. Yeah.
Kelsey, it's been wonderful learning all about you and your work today. Where
Thank
can
you.
people find you? Where can people find more information about your work, see your work?
Mhm. If you go to my Instagram, if you're on social media, it's just Kelsey Howard Art. I have links to everything on there. Or if you just want to go to my website, it's just kelseyhowardart.com. And my name is Kelsey. There are like a ton of different ways to spell Kelsey.
Yeah.
Um, Locally in Wilmington, I only have my artwork at one store right now, called Paysage. And they've been really wonderful to work with. And where else can you? I think, yeah, I only really have my artwork online and in one store locally. I also have my artwork on a few book covers. I think one is still available at Barnes and Nobles, called Like Mother, if you want to just
Aw, that's
peek in
awesome.
Barnes and Nobles. But yeah, mostly on my Instagram, I have everything linked there. So that's probably I'm also on Pinterest. I don't really use TikTok that much, but I'm on there occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. And I will make sure to add all of those to the show notes so people can
Okay.
easily have them.
All right, great.
And yeah. And thank you so much.
Yeah, that's been great talking with you.
Thanks for listening to The Young Granny Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share with your fellow old souls. Until next time, keep embracing your inner granny.